Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Beyond the Summit presentation of the MDL Changsha Major. I myself am Blaze here, bringing you guys a cast of the South American scene here. We've got Midas Club going up against Stars Esports in the first round of Group B. Now, these teams are kind of a little bit lesser known teams in the South American scene. Usually, like you look at the top three teams, you look at SG Esports, Infamous, Pain. They sometimes change their order of success, but generally speaking, those are the ones that are going to be topping out the South American qualifiers. But here, we've got two teams that have still been grinding it out for a long time here. Stars has had some mixed results. Midas Club has had a lot of roster changes, but overall has shown potential. And the thing that I love so much about this MDL format is the way the groups are set up makes it so that every team plays at least 3 matches. And so, obviously, they want to play more. They want to go as far as possible in the tournament. We'll see how far they can go. But at the very least, we get a chance to see what these teams have got up their sleeves a little bit in terms of their skill set, and of course, give them more and more potential to succeed going into the playoffs. So, looking forward to seeing that now. And yeah, we'll start things off. I'm not getting Dota sound, so I'm gonna make sure I didn't crash my audio here. I'm not muted on it, so we'll see. But yeah, going into the draft to start things off here, we do have ourselves Omniknight and Tusk as the opener for Midas Club, and we've got Nature's Prophet and Naga Siren coming in for your dire side picks here. So Stars opening up with that, but Bagavisk going to be drafting up for their side, and they're already going for something that's pretty interesting. The Nature's Prophet is very tried and true throughout the various scenes, just having the mobility tools, having the aggressive pushing tools, and a lot more of drafts these days seem to be single target focused. Team fights are nice. AoE disables are you probably want a couple of those in your draft, but most of it comes down to single target disable, single target damage output. So Nature's Prophet really excels in the right clicks as he's able to build up his item pool very early on, and just naturally has a pretty good agility and a attack ratio. So going to be already tapping into reserve time for phase 2 picks here, though. We did see the bans out of both the Disruptor and the Shadow Shaman. So it seems like they're a little uncertain what to go to for their support pool. Now those are taken off the table. I'm seeing now I do have PC audio. I'm just going to pump it up a little bit here. And yeah, Jakiro is going to be the selection here. So more push, more potential for them to go just really deep in these situations. We'll just mess with this a little bit here. Some people that like music, some people that don't. We'll just kind of keep it a happy medium there. It's there. We got the Rubik, and that's going to be on the side of Midas Club here alongside Tusk and Omniknight. So they've kind of got their brawler heroes, their frontline heroes with the Omniknight and the Tusk. We're going to see how involved they can get. But obviously the Rubik is the one that is going to be about counterplay. He's going to be the one who can get maybe a really good Ice Pass steal, and obviously getting something like the Force of Nature from the Nature's Prophet can be extremely powerful, because then you can kind of farm and push and build up yourself. But yeah, just in general, this is going to be a hero pickup that helps their lanes significantly. And that's something that kind of they're lacking right now. Anya is great in the mid game, kind of has trouble getting off his feet in the laning phase. And Tusk can roam and gank, but he doesn't really allow a carry to feel safe. So we'll see. The fourth pickup here for Stars is going to be their Luna. And they're going to be taking that to the safe lane. So most likely looking at an off lane Nature's Prophet, safe lane Luna, the support Jakiro that we have seen mid, and then obviously the 4-position Naga Siren that's been building up Meteor Hammers left, right, and center. The response to that is actually going to be the Terrorblade here, which is interesting, because there's actually quite a bit of magic damage coming out from Stars. Naga Siren does reduce armor, and Terrorblade has plenty of that, but most of the damage from Jakiro and Luna in particular is going to be magical, and so I could very easily see him getting nuked down. The reason I think this pick can still succeed, though, is not only because he has an Omniknight behind him, which means the Repel negates a lot of that incoming magical damage, but you've also got the lack of overall hard disables on him, and that means he's much more likely to get the Sunder off. If he's able to kind of just stay in the middle of the fight, you can get him pretty low, but if he's not silenced, he's not stunned, then he's probably going to get that ulti through, and from there, you just have to do it all over again. It's actually pretty rough. So push and pull is kind of the name of the game right now. Everything seems to be just getting faster and faster across the board. And yeah, well, we'll see exactly how it all plays out as both teams kind of butt heads for the early Tier 1 towers. Generally speaking, I would say the Terrorblade team is the one that's favored to take the Tier 1 tower early, but you're up against Fury and Jakiro on Luna. I gotta give it to Stars. I think that if they can pull off the lanes pretty effectively, then I think that they're going to be in a good position to start tower pressure very early on. I say maybe around the time Luna hits level 6, Nature's Prophet rotates, and they just pretty much guaranteed win a tower, win a fight. There is also a synergy that I haven't talked about yet. Naga Siren alongside the Jakiro sets up spells really nicely. So you can go like lay down the Macropyre, lay down the Ice Path right as the song ends, and they actually changed the timing of the song, the backswing there, so that you can kind of time it a little bit easier, and that's obviously lended itself to a lot of Meteor Hammer and nonsense like that. But final bans coming out, the mid laners, of course, Queen of Pain and Death Prophet, with the Tinker also taken out, and Puck as well. It's actually a pretty limited pool. Dragonite, though, I still think is a prime pick here, and it's going to be actually Gyrocopter going out for Midas. Very interesting indeed. So, yeah, we've got Gyrocopter, Terrorblade on the same team. At least a good hybrid mix of damage. Gyrocopter does a lot of magic damage early, physical damage later. So I think that's going to be fine. It's a good way of dealing with the illusions that are going to come into play from the Naga and eventually the Manta Luna, as well as the Nature's Prophet's Treants. So some good AoE counter push is always helpful, and Gyrocopter is going to be the one bringing that to the table. Very interesting. Big steals on the board now that we see more of Stars draft as they make their final selection is going to be the Eclipse is probably the biggest one in this game, but Ball Lightning and Force of Nature are also really powerful. Sue's going for the Storm Spirit here, so just overall like a good option that was left in the pool. Neither one of them went for the Dragonite, so they feel like both sides feel like they have enough durability, have enough push. They want to focus on getting kills, and the best way to do that is to either have Gyrocopter push out the waves so that you can have your heroes off the map a little bit more and catch your enemy off guard more frequently as a result. Or in Storm Spirit's case, he just wants to kind of have that range of initiation and the ability to jump in. So should be an interesting game one to start ourselves for the day. We've got 3 best of 3s here for you on Beyond the Summit 5, all the South American Dota action. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into this one and see what these two teams have in store. All right, starting things off, we'll do a little bit of introduction for those that are less familiar with these two teams. We do have Fuga going to be on the Terrorblade here, most likely on the safe lane. You've got Hijack running on the Omni Knight here, definitely going to be off-laning it up. Your roaming support is going to be Hiko here on the Tusk. And from there, you do have RZS on the Rubik. Murdoch is going to be running on the Gyrocopter. This is going to be the unorthodox mid-lane Gyrocopter, but obviously shows some potential here. And we'll go ahead and look for actually an early smoke action. This is going to be a very interesting exchange here as Naga Siren runs right into 5 heroes, gets lifted up, thrown back, and that's going to be your first blood for Fuga. Ice Shard's very on point here, locking out Nedbone for a moment, but they do have that narrow crevice which the Jakiro will be able to escape. All right, team introduction done for the Radiant. Let's go ahead and look over the diary. You've got Nedbone here on the Jakiro. This is one name that I have seen in the South American scene for a long time. So looking to forward to see exactly what he has in store. A very strategic-minded individual, and pretty much has been on the support role for his entire competitive career that I know of anyways. Sue's going to be running on the Storm Spirit mid. Sherlock is currently posturing towards the top lane on that Luna, making sure they can secure their bounty rune. And his buddies are going to be Bagovisk on the Naga Siren, and of course the aforementioned Jakiro. And that'll leave Hane down here on the bottom lane. Going to be starting off with the Blightstone on this Nature's Prophet. So bounty runes go 2 for 2, no surprises there, but the first blood favoring the Terrorblade quite a bit, as he didn't have to even expend the Metamorphosis to make that kill happen. Really just comes down to Naga Siren face checking the hill. So most likely going to be a lot of gank action on this mid lane. The Tusk is kind of like designed for it. He'll pressure top with Omni Knight for a little bit there. Nice little creep play here. But in the end, the goal is going to be to pressure the Storm Spirit before he hits level 6. And Bagovisk is going to try to throw that pressure out the other way. So we'll see if they can get an early kill on the Nature's Prophet as well. I think Metamorphosis should elude them to 1 kill, but he's going to make for the trees and see if he can get out of here. He does have tangos. He does have Fairy Fire, and at the very least, he's wasting a lot of Fuga's time. But there's going to be 2 more right clicks coming in, and it's not going to be enough with that Fairy Fire. So that's going to be the main damage for the lane already gone. He's not going to confront the Metamorphosis, and as it times out, that's going to be pretty much limiting any kill potential they had on the Nature's Prophet for the next few minutes. Up top is going to be pretty busy. We're going to see kind of a back-and-forth brawl here. Orb of Venom keeps him in range. Maybe the Degen Orb could be skilled up early on. One point in that, along with Orb of Venom, makes it very easy to stay on top of a single target. Lag coming out here. I believe these guys are both Brazilian, so should be on the Brazil server, and hopefully shouldn't have too many hiccups with that. But yeah, I think that's going to force... Oh, well, Packovist gets caught out again. A little bit of... Just it's going to be a couple right clicks back and forth. There's very limited kill potential onto the Dire until the Purification gets to level 2. Actually, Nature Prophet, a little bit too far forward here, gets caught by both the Reflection and the Telekinesis, and that might be enough to bring him down. I was going to expect the Furion to stay further away and make it impossible for Fuga to get more than a couple of right clicks on him in any exchange now that Metamorphosis is gone, but looks like they found their opening. Not sure if it had anything to do with Hane's disconnection and lag, but looking good now. All right, and the Gyrocopter on the mid lane is going to be pretty interesting. Right now has a small advantage over the Storm Spirit, 5-2 on Murdoch compared to Sue's 5-1. Not a big difference either way, though, and we're going to be seeing this homing missile max. He still has to go back for the flak cannon pretty early because of the fact that he is up against Nature's Prophet, and he still wants to keep up his ancient farm. But max missile in mid can be very powerful as well. Is this bottle coming on the courier? As a, you know, we saw down bottom, the Nature's Prophet was quite dead at that point. I'm not sure if it was because of the lag and disconnection, but yeah, he was thrown into a very bad spot. So ends up giving up the kill that he was able to avoid earlier on. But yeah, max missile coming out, but no bottle. Just going to go for the Aquila, and they're going to go for the Tusk play here. Homing missile combined with the Orb of Venom and Ice Shards, bringing him very low here, but not low enough to kill. In fact, we're going to see a double support TP coming into the mid lane. Gyrocopter is still fighting it out, has Magic Stick charges using them to try to get away. The tick of the Dual Breath is not going to be enough to kill him off, and Bagovisk doesn't have anything left in the tank. His wand keeping him just outside the mana he needed for that Riptide kill in the Gyro. So very close exchange, and a dual support rotation is something that is really big for Hijack. Hijack suddenly gets a 1 versus 1 situation against the Luna, is able to get full EXP here on the lane, push it out under the tower, and is now level 3 and very comfortable for it. Sure, he's got an Invis Naga on top of him, the Jakiro waiting in the wings, but that just 1 minute of time where he doesn't have to worry about any supports, and he knows it because they're TP clear as day. It's just really problematic now because Omni Knight is going to hit his level 4, level 5 at a very good pace. He's going to get his Boots of Speed here next, I believe. He could go for the Soul Ring, but I think the Boots are very valuable as well. Either way, he's going to have Repel, and then, you know, all they have to deal with that is the Ensnare. So I think that he's going to be able to pretty much get himself out of any situation once he hits level 4. Very valuable time for the Omni Knight. If the Gyrocopter had gone down to Riptide, then I would say the dual support rotation is worthwhile, but just being 4 mana short makes all the difference, and I would have to say that now Midas are pretty happy with the current situation. Okay, Reflection coming out here on the Nature's Prophet. He does have a TP and a teleport, and, you know, quite a bit of distance here from the low MS Rubik. The mid lane Gyrocopter is going to get that homing missile onto him, and the Tusk is going to keep him in place, force him to fight it out, but a nice amount of damage coming from Ball Lightning Riptide, and it's a double kill for Suze. Is able to make it work. Rubik TPing in will get a Fade Bolt kill the other way. I believe the Observer Ward should have caught that, but I think he was just too excited to get that exchange, just kind of manning up. He kind of finds himself in a position where he doesn't really get to run. He has to run like out of the Ice Shards and back around, and he just says, screw it. If I just fight here, you're both right on top of me, Static Remnant, Overload, do AoE magic damage. It was a right call, and does end up profiting from it tremendously. Naga Siren, though, has made a lot of rotations, roamed out quite a bit. It goes for the higher level on the snare since she is up against an Omni Knight and is waiting for that repel. Once he repels, she goes for the ensnare, and I think this might be a kill. He's going to Purify as soon as this runs off. Magic Wand and the Purification, but it's not enough. With the double damage right clicks, the aura and everything else that applies, that Omni Knight is going to be going down. A lot of, oh, down bottom here. Nature Prophet caught in a bad spot, just barely gets teleport out. Metamorphosis pop for that one again, so early use of the telekinesis is the key here. If he holds telekinesis for a little bit longer, then he can interrupt the Nature's Prophet teleport. But, you know, it comes down to timing. It's a very nuanced situation when you're the sole support down here. And the Tusk is there, it's just a guaranteed kill. But Hiko seems to be preferring to focus on the mid and the top lane. Yeah, a lot of people will question the skill build of the 1 point in Riptide and 2 points in Ensnare. Usually you'll see it the other way around. But in this case, you are up against an Omni Knight, and just 1 extra second of disable against a hero that will otherwise negate it is a really big deal. Instead of going through the repel, through BKBs, makes all the difference. Are they going for this? They really want it, but he just hit level 6. He's going to be fine. He's going to get lifted up, but he has that Magic Wand as well as the Infused Raindrops. Instead, he's going on the offense. Murdoch going to be taken down by 2 overloads, and he's going to grab Hiko as well. 1 more hit. It's going to come from Bagavisk. And again, the dual support rotation, but this time they pick up a double. Zeus is now in a really good spot this game. They've made so many different kill attempts on him prior to him hitting level 6. And not only did he only drop once, but now he's got 2 kills and 2 assists to his name right out the gate. So very strong position for him to be in. And have some pretty high expectations for him as he builds up his inventory early. Probably goes for the Kaio, I would expect. And from there, just a lot of damage and a lot of effective use of the mana. Trying to just put in some good damage here. Fuga getting some good hits on Hane, but doesn't have the support to help him out in this situation. Hiko's still very far off. Yeah, Hane doesn't see him, though, so if he gets a little bit aggressive in this position, he could still go down. Was able to find some farm, just picking off, I think, the big troll here. I don't know, the big troll's on the side. So just try to put some hits into the neutrals here, and it's just going to be Storm Spirit to steal the stack in the end. He's got Ball Lightning, so he really doesn't care. Like, they have to time their stuns absolutely perfectly if there's even a remote chance that they'll get the kills on these guys. Nice little Sprout. Blocks off 2 lines here. Makes it very difficult to get through the tree line, but eventually the snowball rolls through, and Hane does end up going down. With the stuns on cooldown, though, Zeus is pretty free to go in onto the Rubik here. 1 more ball forward would do it, but a juke in the tree line almost gets Rubik out of here. Haste Rune now expired, and now caught by the Ice Shards. Oh, gets pushed out on the other side. That was very close. So in the meantime, Bagavisk has been leeching mid. Getting a little bit in terms of CS. He's 4-0, but mostly just getting the XP. Murdoch's a little scared, though. Playing it very far back here, instead of as aggressive as you would expect a level advantage mid laner to be. As I say that, though, his levels are not great. If we look at the XP per minute, which is a stat that you usually don't get to look at, but in this context, it's very important to note just how far behind the Gyrocopter is. The Luna, Safe Lane Luna, as well as the Terrorblade and Storm Spirit are all above him. And while I'm jabbering on about random stats, we do have Sherlock just eclipsing the Omni Knight in the woods. No problem at all. Just can't get far away from it. Gets caught out. And no Mana Repel is going to save him from that one. So Eclipse does net him a kill very early on here. Usually you'll see Luna start to be aggressive when that spell is off cooldown, but did not catch that one up on the top lane. Very nice movement there from Sherlock. Smoke play, though, bringing the snowball right on top of him. No Eclipse to save you this time, but the Ice Shards are not fully on the mark. Pulling him in for the second call down is going to be Rubik's TK, and that is going to be a nice little kill there on her. In the meantime, though, you're going to see Sue's pressure in the mid and Hane pressure down bottom. Why did the Terrorblade come up here? I could understand the 3-man smoke getting involved and even the Omni Knight, but you have to leave your at least one hero down here. That's very awkward now as they're getting pressured really heavily on both tier 1s. They're not putting any damage into the top tier 1. And while they did get the Luna, she's back in play, and they've lost so much structural damage on the other 2 lanes. Rubik Rubik gets the spell steal of the Lucid Beam, looking for the Eclipse, but already too far gone. Nice snare, that is level 2. Means she's going to be locked in place for quite some time, and the Nature Prophet gets the flank off. A lot of damage coming in for the Terrorblade. Does kill off the Jakiro, but if they kill him off in turn, it's going to be a problem. He did skill up the Sunder here at level 8. Has a Magic Wand as well, putting in some good right clicks into Bag of Fist. That's going to be a kill on both supports. Hane, where are you? What are you doing, man? Get out of here. Here, up against Degen Aura at a very high damage output Terrorblade. Does do some item drop and get hit by the Wrath of Nature, but looks like he's going to be okay. Now the Lucid Beam coming through. Terrorblade Sunders up to Luna. Your HP is now mine, but he doesn't really have anything left in the tank. He should probably back off at this point, as he is taking quite a bit just from these long-range pokes from the Lucid Beams. And that's that. Tusk gets some time down in the bottom lane all to himself. Hane returns, looking for an Orchid early on. Suze, on the other hand, is going to be going for that Kaya, and at a very good pace. Null Talisman treads, 500 gold banked up, and Gyrocopter farming in the middle lane. All right, you want to call down the wave? Call down the wave. He says, I'm not doing anything for a minute anyways. Let's get it on. So he's looking for an opportunity. Hard to find a solo kill. But he does have the Arcane Rune, so lots of mana to work with here. Gets some good AoE damage on both of them. And yeah, with all of this Magic Wand bottle action, he can actually just keep going and going and going. Just the mana, reducing the amount of mana he's expending. He's just able to keep going and going and going. Walrus Punch not coming out here. Hiko just gonna drop. Storm just walking all over him. Up top, Sherlock taking some hits here. That's where the action is on the other side. And with the stolen Lucid Beam, they will actually bring her down. In the meantime, though, Nature Prophet does take the bottom tier 1. We're just seeing action go across the map here. Global potential for a lot of these heroes. And net worth currently favoring Stars, the experience favoring Midas. It's actually interesting how it goes opposite directions here. And I would mostly chalk that up to the fact that Stars have had the better kills overall. Especially the Storm Spirit has gotten involved a lot. But, you know, with the tower difference, it's actually surprising exactly what they're looking at. Master Madness coming out for the Luna. Nature Prophet. Isolate a little bit here. Not sure if they can close the distance, though. The Reflection almost came out, but just needs to get the TP. But now the Walrus Punch is in range, and yeah, he's pretty much done for. Storm Spirit wants to help out. Really not much he can do, though. So yeah, it is going to be Terrorblade topping out the net worth despite his team's deficit. Overall, just more gold going the way of the tower for Stars. And experience is still a very minor advantage. It's a very even game. And Storm Spirit changing that a little bit here as he does get picked up. Very, very impressive. Snowball catch out on him. And I think mostly it comes down to him just having such little mana. He was using so much mana aggressively, you know, towards the Radiant Jungle, diving for the Tusk, that when he was found out under the ward, they just kind of went for it and found him with nothing left in the tank. You don't really have a lot of static mana regen at this current state of the game as the Storm. His next item after Kaya will definitely give him some mana regen, Hex, Yules, whatever. But right now, it's just like, okay, you have Bottle, you have Magic Wand, and as soon as those are expended, you're really just running on this very moderate amount of mana. He gets 2.3 a second. It's not much. Gyrocopter trying to TP out here. Lucid Beam not going to come through. And Gyro's bounced back a little bit, but he's still not where he should be as a mid laner. Like, he's gotten his level 8. He's gotten involved in some fights, but end of the day, he's still kind of middle of the pack for net worth, and he should be a lot higher at this stage of the game in my mind. We'll see. Maybe the Flat Cannon will allow him to kind of build that back up, but currently, Terrorblade is the only hope for Midas to really pull forward. Looking for action here on the mid lane. Should be a pretty easy pickup on the Rubik, unless he steals Ball Lightning. There's almost... Oh, yeah, he already has Ball Lightning. Never mind. See you later, boyos. All right, pushing forward here. Are they going to be able to go in? Yeah, Hijack's got the ultimate. They really want to fight this out. Ishard's pretty limited in what they can kind of keep away, though. And I think that Stars just walk away from this one. They brought in the whole enchilada, but Hane gets caught out on the sidelines here, gets lifted up, and, you know, a little bit of fire and flames, but in the end, the Furion falls once more. So at this point, KDA, we're looking at 4 deaths on the Nature's Prophet. He's the one that is falling behind. 7-0 for the Terrorblade, 0-4 for this Nature's Prophet. It just feels like, while the early laning phase is understandable, like anytime Metamorphosis comes out, there's going to be problems. He did get that one unlucky disconnect, and now things just kind of seem to be snowballing against him as he gets caught out of position time and time again. Quick and easy push onto the tier 1 middle, trying to get some counter pressure here with the Mask of Madness up top. But here comes Rubik. Ball Lightning available. I think he's trying to force out the Eclipse here. He's like, oh, okay, you Eclipse, I'll ball, and then I'll steal and keep rolling with it. Maybe even get a counter kill. But at least for right now, Terrorblade keeps pushing mid. He's got an Omni behind him. Plenty of potential healing. There's really nothing for the Terrorblade to be afraid of at this particular moment. Oh, and Song coming through. They're going to try to isolate a certain target, but unless they can kill the Omni in a very fast exchange, they really don't have a chance here. Terrorblade is going to be timing out his Metamorphosis in a very short time span here. Eclipse is available, but just not something you really want to commit hard on. You can't kill the Omni Knight fast enough. He's got a hood. And you can't kill the Terrorblade because he's got an Omni and a Thunder behind him. So Gyrocopter going to get caught out here by Suze and Hain. Isolating targets like this is much more the way you want to go. Suze going to go ahead and TP away. He does pick up that last hit on Murdoch. Up here, though, Hain once again left for dead. And just kind of gets the short end of the stick in every single exchange. Sometimes you just got to chat wheel okay and keep on keeping on. You're finding important kills, even if it's kind of cost you in the end. I think this Nature's Prophet is going to find himself in a weird position where he's constantly struggling to stay relevant. Nature's Prophet is a hero that isn't innately relevant with his skill set. Like, he'll keep pushing and pressuring, but there's a lot of heroes that can do that. It's much more usually the net worth advantage that he has available that allows him to stay involved. He has hard right clicks. He has good single target output. And we're going to see jump up top here. Suze will finish off the Rubik, but Walrus Punch is going to be enough to get him out. No! He's actually able to ball away, and they're not able to finish him. One more Ice Shard's going to come through here. Can he get the dodge out? No, siree. Hiko will stipe him out at long range. So commits heavily on the Rubik up top, who just trades his life for another. Down bottom, a little bit of a good flank on Fuga, though. He pops the Metamorphosis, and this is going to be a good opportunity for them to just nuke him down really hardcore. Eclipse comes out. They're going to be able to burst him. No, the Sunder comes through. One more right click is going to be needed, and it's going to be enough. It's going to be a 1-for-1. Is it 3 ultimates? Just 2 ultimates. 3 heroes committed to kill the Terrorblade, and he ends up just trading for the safe laner anyways. I mean, I guess Metamorphosis and Sunder are both like ultimate in terms of cooldowns, but I gotta say it's just a morale victory for Midas Club. Nedbone going to be progressing towards that Yule's Scepter. Orchid almost out for the Prophet, so at least we'll have a silence to allow him to get more involved, but in the end, still going to be treading water for quite a bit of this game, trying to keep pace with the other heroes. Rubik going to have his Blink Dagger in just 200 gold. Like, a Blink Rubik is just so much more relevant than an Orchid Nature's Prophet in most cases. You can just start fights, you can make things happen. Right now, Stars is completely dependent on Suze to be involved. Like, he's a crutch they're leaning on. He can initiate, he can do lots of things, but he can't do everything. He can't be everywhere at once. Hain, the only place he seems to be is the graveyard. He's going to try to go for the TP out, but I believe the ward gave him the vision inside the Sprout, and there's just no hope for him at this point. Yeah, he's even drawing the map. He's saying, hey, they got some ward action probably over here. You're incorrect on that one, buddy, but they do have a ward. And, yeah, Pipe finished on the Omni Knight. Now Guardian Angel Pipe makes them essentially immune to all damage for a brief duration there, about 6 seconds, and that's going to be really hard to punch through as Midas Club start to group up more and more. Right now, Murdoch is isolated. He's pretty much dead to rights already. Omni Knight will try to get it here in time for the Purification. Gets the Purification, gets the Repel out as well. And that is going to be actually Naga Siren going down, and the Jakira picked up as well. No Wallace Punch coming out on the Storm, though. That's the big kill. And Luda just has to back off. No Quelling Blade in his inventory. It's in his backpack. So, but he'll just back off with really no rebuttal from Stars. So if the TP does come out in time, the Gyrocopter just tanky enough here. I guess if you think about it, a lot of Stars' damage is over time. The burst output of Jakiro in particular is pretty negligible. So they'll just stand behind the Gyrocopter. He's going to end up going for a BKB anyways, even though he does have an Omni. This means the Repel is mostly going to be committed to the Terrorblade. And is this the Meteor Hammer build up? Yeah, looks like Bagavisk is going to be trying to go for the Meteor Hammer. We'll see if he can kind of get any of those combos off. Sometimes they can be a little finicky in terms of the timing. Dire do not have vision of this exactly, but they did have some decent intel into the general whereabouts of their opposition. We'll see if Bagavisk gets caught off guard by this rotation. Actually just moving towards the bottom rune area. Blink lift could be a big deal. Pulling him in, get right into the snowball, but he just keeps balling away, and the Eclipse comes through. Eclipse stolen by the Rubik, dropping down on the Luna. Big damage against Sherlock, and he will fall first. Now Naga Siren gonna go for the Song of Siren. Damage coming through. Looks like he's just gonna go for the TP away and try to get Storm out as well. But that is Eclipse on cooldown, and that is a dead Luna for a tier 2 tower down bottom. Big, very important that those Eclipse fights work out well for the Dire, and that just didn't happen here. The tower is nice. As I said, Jakiro and Nature Prophet really excel in all this like chip damage, this continuous build structural pressure. But we're just seeing the little victories work out so well for Midas. And now they've got 2 Blink Initiators. They've got a very farmed Terrorblade. The Gyrocopter's back on board. And things are just looking really good for Midas. I think Stars have to make something happen very soon if they're going to have a chance at this one. Because right now we're looking at Midas most likely taking Roche within the next 5 minutes, and then they're going to take every outer tier 2, essentially. Macropyre is pretty good on the defense, but usually for high ground. And I just feel like Midas Club, their game plan right now is not to actually break the racks, but just take control of the map. And from there, the Terrorblade and the Gyrocopter will just be able to eat up all the neutrals and waves on the map. And Eclipse is going to be back up here in about 30 seconds with the combination of the Blink Dagger and this offensive null field. You gotta respect the amount of damage that can come out from this hero here. It's actually pretty insane. The 22% increased magical damage output. Is it comparable to a Veil? I actually forget exactly how much Veil enhances things by. But we can go ahead and take a look here. Veil's 25%? Yeah. So the Rubik essentially has a free Veil built into his aura, and he's going for an Eclipse onto people. Like, there's just so much quick burst damage between Eclipse, Fade Bolt, and the offensive null field that he definitely can kill any one person he wants. The question is if he finds an isolated target like that. Oh my gosh, he does, but the Sans comes out first. Now we're going to see the Purification. Now the Repel, and there's the Eclipse. Drop it down. The Nature's Prophet Blink Dagger is up. Going for Soonth here, who's very low on mana. And Ball Lightning right on top of him here. Oh, it's going to be Eclipse the other way. One's off cooldown, then the other one is 2, buddy. And that is actually going to be Sherlock getting a little bit of revenge onto that Rubik. So in the end, the Storm Spirit will survive, keep those precious Bloodstone charges, and keep that mana regen flowing. Age Prophet really is just the sacrificial lamb here. He's trying his best, but he is just so far behind now. 0 and 7. He has 5 kills. He has you know, a lot in terms of last hits, 148, which is keeping his overall net worth at an okay pace, but not where you expect the Nature's Prophet to be in general. State of the game here is going to be nearly a 4,000 net worth advantage for Midas Club. And same thing in terms of experience. Overall going really well for them at this stage of the game. BKB now up for Murdoch. Hijack. What's he been working on? He really hasn't gone anywhere with his items in quite some time. He's just had the pipe for a while. Back to the arcane boots, and now looking at potentially Guardian Greaves. Butterfly up for the Terrorblade. Chunks down towers like nobody's business, and they did grab Roshan as well, so they're actually just looking at high ground. Yeah, you can probably take this top 2 too, but now everybody has to TP home. Everybody has to get back. There is no time at all. Song Siren comes through. We're looking for Macropyre. Not available. 13 seconds for the Macropyre. Nedbone. You've used it once too many. Now they're going to drop the Meteor Hammer. Looking for the Ice Path follow-up, but Murdoch's already got the BKB out. Bagavus caught out inside the Ice Shards and will be killed off. And now the Jakiro gets killed off as well. He pops the Magic Wand. He's got himself Yules, buying himself some time, but in the end, he is going to fall. And now Susan, caught out by a stud, is going to be dropped down as well. He cannot fight this. He's going for the fountain all the way back to the well, and he will actually survive, but in the meantime, your racks are all gone. Luna's finally back in business too, but Eclipse is not here. The timing was just all wrong for Stars. Now balling forward, Suze tries to take advantage of that fountain regen, but he's going to be killed off. Has to buy back with a 12-second timer just to get back in this game. Now trying to kill off Fuga. He does get the Manta out against the Orchid here. No Sunder available for 13 seconds. Hiko trying to buy him some time. In the end, he will be dropping down. Okay, they extend that one out a little bit here, and now it's going to be a ball away from the Storm Spirit. Omnight finally back in play. But kind of all on his own. He does get silenced up. Has the Pipe and Wand. Is it going to be enough? Fuel Scepter trying to set up a little bit of action here. It's going to be enough to bring him down. So they do get some good kills in return, but the Storm buys back with like 13 seconds on the timer thanks to the Bloodstone, and you could tell that he's not going to be too happy with the cost of that one. Just way too much expended on his part at the very least, and of course they lost the bottom lane of racks. The Chikiro Macropyre on cooldown as well as the Eclipse means the song is essentially useless. Like, he tries to go for Meteor Hammer, it hits onto one guy here, but they don't get anything on the Gyrocopter. He BKBs and just kills off everyone, and yeah, in the meantime, the Terrorblade just keeps hitting the racks. They get kills as a follow-up, but the racks is what's important. The map control is now drastically favoring Midas Club. You can see they also still have some good ward vision here, some good information on any approach from the jungles. And trying to see a way back into this one for Stars, but it's a long road. It really involves like a lot of pickoffs. The Gyrocopter getting down to 5 seconds on his BKB and killing off the Terrorblade with maybe an overly liberal use of Manta style. If his Manta gets caught on cooldown when a Nature Prophet silences him, it could be a really big deal, but right now, ball lightning on ball lightning, and he's got a team at his back. Bloodthorn? Is this memes? I don't know. What am I looking at here? Murdoch going for the Orchid Malevolence on a Gyrocopter. You know, it's a good option, especially for a Storm Spirit that doesn't have like the momentum behind him. He's not getting a Yules or a BKB anytime soon, so you know, you can break the Lincolns on the Luna. You could just silence kill somebody. Maybe prevent a Song of the Siren could be nice. There's a silence coming through onto the Storm Spirit, and he is going to be stunned 3 ways to Sunday. Not sure the Orchid was necessary, but certainly effective in killing off the Storm Spirit there. So, yeah, there's really not much left to say. Nature Prophet tries to split push, but there's a lot more coming in too fast for them to really deal with. They go ahead and just mech everything up. They still have the pipe, as well as the Guardian Angel. It's going to be almost impossible for them to get kills out of this, but they're going to try. Storm Spirit is not up for 10 seconds. They're going to go. Macropyre, Ice Path coming through on the Gyrocopter. Gets his BKB off, though, and just flaks things away. Fuga going to take down the Tier 3 tower. If they just reset closer to the high ground, they're going to be fine, but Omnit's a little bit too far forward. That's a Tusk, actually. Doesn't get the Lotus Orb on himself, just gets killed off. And Gyrocopter gets killed too. They're just heading for the hills. They're abandoning the fight. They had Guardian Angel. They had Pipe. They used the Pipe, but even still, I feel like if they just regrouped, they could have fought that really well. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but they're crumbling now. They're just getting isolated. They're getting torn apart. RZS should be fine with the ball, but, I mean, there's heroes up here. There's heroes back here. Obviously, Terrorblade hanging out here. Like, they just kind of spread themselves out way too thin in that engagement. If they all just kind of stick around this general area, maybe pull back a little bit if they're really uncertain, they can definitely fight as the Dire funnels in. They just have this area where they can take the engagement with the Omni Knight, with the ultimates. But Tusk was like all the way up here, didn't use his Lotus Orb, gets completely caught out and isolated, and kind of things fall apart from there. Very weird. Not game deciding by any means. Stars still have a lot more that they need in order to really get themselves back in the driver's seat. They lose the melee racks on the mid lane in the end. Kuga at least has that focus, but overall it's just kind of sloppy for Midas Club. I still think that they're pretty much in a winning position in this game, but could have played that one a little bit cleaner. Orchid now up for the Storm Spirit. We'll see if that gets him anything. Luna's Eclipse still down for 30 seconds, though. And it looks like it's going to be a little bit longer on Roshan. 2 minutes, 15 seconds. And some connection issues. So at this point in time, you know, you've got map control, you've got gem, you've got a 3 racks advantage. You're feeling pretty good as Midas Club. The thing is just not to get too comfortable. They still are mortal, they still bleed, they still can be killed off for sure. And games have been thrown with less advantages, and with more advantages for that matter. We'll see what comes next, but all they need to really do is just levy the Omni Knight a little bit better. Make sure that he's involved. Stick together. The lanes will automatically push themselves out. They should be able to guarantee themselves Roshan. I think that's the biggest thing the Stars have to be worried about is controlling the pit. They have the tools with the Song of the Siren, with the Jakiro, with the Luna, but they have to be very careful just how they approach. I think once they get into this position, they're in a really strong spot. But just getting to this part of the map is pretty difficult, especially if this shrine gets taken down. I think that might be the key. The fact that Midas haven't taken this shrine means Stars could still use that as a proxy to try to get into the pit if the timing is right. Right now, Rubik doesn't have like the big talents. Once he gets Null Field, once he gets a Spell Amp from Soul and Spells, the Eclipse can really hurt. But right now it's kind of just your basic stuff. Not really too many interesting talents across the board. TP. Yeah, just TPs, Ball Lightning to clear out the wave. And they go ahead and just poke at the shrine. This is, again, very important that they take care of this before they go for the Roach. BKB, Aghanim's, and Orchid all up for Nature's Prophet. See what he decides to do with it. Now, this does give them the Super Trance. I will mention that. Trance spawn from anything killed by Wrath of Nature. It's going to be the Gyrocopter kind of caught out here. It's Hejack that has to get a little bit closer to him. And Murloc pops the BKB, just tries to go in for the fight, but he is out of range of this Omni Knight. Purification could come out at the very last second, perhaps. Zalgasar taken off, and the Guardian Angel comes through just in time. Murdoch keeps fighting out, repelled, and Jade putting Sherlock down to critical health and will be going down. The Luna falls on the northern front, and Murloc survives through it all. Now going on to Nedbone. He'll Yules, but he will still fall, and now with the Yule Scepter on the Nature's Prophet, it looks like he too will be going down. disconnect coming through. Maybe just a GG call coming out for Stars. It doesn't really matter at this point. The Nature's Prophet is almost guaranteed dead. Is there any... Yeah, he... No, wait. So the Gyrocopter does need to Orchid here. The teleport... The TP scroll is on cooldown, so the Nature's Prophet does have to cast to teleport out. The Gyrocopter can just silence that. If he gets the Sprout off in time, Rubik needs to use his own Sprout to counter that Sprout in order to have vision. So, weird exchange, but basically, yeah. If there is a Sprout from Hane, RZS needs to use his Sprout so that the Orchid comes out and Hane dies. The Chihiro pretty much just dead already. There's the Self-Sprout, there's the Silence, there's the kill. Still, though, that fight, I think the biggest point of confusion for Stars was that Song of the Siren. They used it when it didn't add any value to the fight, and then he immediately panicked and turned it off. And that's just kind of weird, kind of reset on the engagement. Created an opportunity for the Gyrocopter and then the Omni-Knight to converge. Because Gyrocopter was up here. He was kind of caught in a weird spot. The Omni-Knight was like, oh, I can barely be in pipe range for you, but that's about it. So they kind of lost lovers, got to reconvene over at the steps, and they were able to kind of get things back where they wanted them, back in control. And I actually get to see where the Terrorblade was in that fight, but, you know, just doing Terrorblade things. It got the right-click things. He wasn't really the focus. Murdoch was definitely what Stars were looking to grab as they started off that fight. And with only Rubik behind him, they made it pretty easy until things got a little bit chaotic. But with the top lane now taken care of, one more Rax remains. Should be falling shortly. This is the last hurrah of Stars. Let's make it a good one. As we look at the buyback status here, and only Storm has it available. They don't even defend the last Rax. And with that, I just walk away. These guys' call. Maybe they're one of the teams that are just completely against calling GG. They're like, we'll fight to the end. We'll pretend there's time rating on the line or something. I don't know. But there you go. They'll smoke out. They'll try to make something happen. I think that's been pinged by the Radiant already. At this point, though, it's rough. Like, if you're going to fight, you might as well fight for that last Rax with the Nature's Prophet just respawning. I guess the ultimates might have been a factor, though, with the Eclipse unavailable. They're a little hesitant. Either way, Aegis and Cheese is going to be going the way of Stars, and we can't call this one until it is actually over. With Aegis and Cheese at their disposal, with the ability to push out waves with Nature's Prophet and Luna, it's still possible they come back. The biggest issue is not even the Mega Creeps, it's just how powerful these cores are for Midas. There's really, if they have the Omni behind him, there's nothing that can kill the Gyrocopter or kill the Terrorblade. Trying to force out the Eclipse on just one hero, while the Luna does get picked up on the northern side. She's just completely caught out away from her team, and she doesn't want to Song nothing. Now the Luna didn't want to Eclipse it. Absolutely nothing. Has to pop the cheese. Can go ahead. Manta dodge out at the perfect time for the homing missile. But really, what is she accomplishing? She's just dragging things out. Orchid expires. She'll probably Eclipse just to get it stolen. And then that'll be the game. There we go. Terrorblade, in the meantime, just chunking down tier 4 towers, poking at the tire, no real worries. He has Pop Thunder once at this point, but Storm Spirit will lose that Aegis, and will be fighting on his last legs. Can they get here in time, though? So Terrorblade is actually pretty low here. Manta can get him out of the Orchid, but he is stunned up. Needs a little bit more in terms of reinforcements. Go ahead, pikes himself out, and they don't commit to try to finish him off. And he takes the throne, and at that point in time, the foregone conclusion does meet its end here. 36 minutes, 30 seconds. Midas Club victory as they take down Stars for the first game in this best of 3 series. But we are just getting started here on MDL South America Changsha, and we're going to be continuing on with some more Dota 2 action. So coming up, it's going to be game 2 of this best of 3, and then we'll get into some hot and heavy action over on the other side of the seas. So for right now, thank you guys once again for tuning in. I'm myself, MBlaze, at BlazeCasting, and this has been Game 1 of potentially 9. It's going to be a nice long day of Dota 2. Stay tuned.